Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris has refuted claims that he met with billionaire investor Mr. Alki David or his associates at the Park Hyatt Hotel. Mr. David, in a press conference on Monday, claimed Dr. Harris met with him and his business partner at the hotel on the weekend and that talks broke down because he did not want to do what he was asked by the Prime Minister. His business partner eventually got arrested after speaking to the Prime Minister and is currently in jail up to news time. But Prime Minister Harris, while speaking on radio show Straight Talk on Win FM Thursday, denied these claims.
I want to make it absolutely clear that certainly neither Mr. David nor Mr. Edwards or Mr. Charles, whatever name he carries, are friends, investors, partners, or have any relationship with myself. And I have never organized or in fact engaged in any meeting with either parties.
The Prime Minister further explained that Mr. David sought him to complain about his arrest at the Alki International Airport for the possession and importation of a controlled substance.
On Sunday last, I had reason to be at the Park Hyatt. I was accosted by a gentleman who in the end identified himself as Mr. David. And we had an interaction for about a minute and a half. Because once I realized who he was, I then got a preview of the kind of character, unstable and unbalanced he was. He said to me, "Your government arrested me illegally." And I looked at him, in disbelief. One, I didn't know who he was until he made the approach. And secondly, that he would come to the head of a country in that particular matter. And I said to him, if you come to a country and you don't know the laws, you should consult with your lawyer or the government. And before I could have finished that, the guests at whom I was awaiting to have had a lunch arrived and Mr. David walked away.
Prime Minister Harris said that he does not or have ever had any form of relationship, whether personal or otherwise, with Alki David or Chase Ergen. Dr. Harris said he was at the time out of the country on official CARICOM business and said he was first made aware of Mr. David's presence in the country after the matter became international headlines.
I knew of Mr. David after the matter broke in the news. And let's not forget the sequence. I was away in Costa Rica up until the 8th, I think it was, of this month. By the time I got home, this matter had already become an international story. I think it was on or about the 9th or thereabout, these parties would have been charged. Mr. David was charged on the advice and guidance of the Director of Public Prosecution, according to the release from that office.
According to the police, Charles Edwards, the other business associate of Mr. David, was formally charged with 3 offenses on Wednesday, May 15th for threatening language, resisting arrest, and a battery on police. The offenses took place at the Park Hyatt and Kitts on Sunday, May 12. Mr. Alki David appeared in court Tuesday morning, charged with possession of a controlled drug, possession with intent to supply, and importation of a controlled drug. He was remanded to prison after his bail was raised from $30,000 set at an early appearance in court on May 9th to $300,000, cash bail, and $600,000 with 2 sureties. Mr. David claimed he had brought in 550 hemp seedlings into the country as part of engaging farmers on St. Kitts in a bid to begin a cannabis industry on the island. However, the seedlings were confiscated, and on his return to the Alki International Airport to leave the country, he was arrested and charged. SK Newsline will continue to monitor this story. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.